you searching for the best way to prepare for the WGU D333 Objective Assessment? Look no further. Our website offers a comprehensive set of questions and answers, specifically tailored to help you ace the D333 course. In this video, we will cover questions from IT ethics, data, privacy, legal compliance, professionalism, and security risks. So, let's get started. 1. A car manufacturer decides to alter its emission testing to pass regulatory requirements. The emission reduction system is only used during tests and not during normal driving conditions in order to improve fuel efficiency. Which step in the ethical decision-making process should have been used to evaluate the environmental impact of this decision? A. Define the problem. B. Evaluate the results. C. Choose alternatives. D. Implement the decision. What do you think is the answer? Correct answer. C. Choose alternatives. Explanation. The decision-making process requires evaluating all possible alternatives before a decision is finalized. In this case, the environmental impact could have been mitigated by choosing a solution that reduces emissions consistently rather than just during tests. The other options, such as defining the problem, evaluating results, or implementing the decision, occur at different stages of the ethical decision-making process and do not directly address evaluating the environmental alternatives. 2. Which two aspects of an IT worker's responsibilities involve ethical issues that might arise in the relationship between IT workers and IT users? A. Discouraging software piracy. B. Providing unlimited access to sensitive data. C. Encouraging data sharing. D. Controlling information sharing. Do you know the answer? Correct answer. A. Discouraging software piracy. D. Controlling information sharing. Explanation. IT professionals must discourage unethical practices such as software piracy and ensure that information is shared responsibly. Providing unlimited access or encouraging unchecked data sharing could lead to serious ethical breaches. 3. What is the primary goal for a supply chain relating to corporate social responsibility, CSR? A. Cost reduction. B. Innovation. C. Sustainability. D. Profit maximization. Can you guess the answer? Correct answer. C. Sustainability. Explanation. The CSR-related goal of a supply chain is to ensure sustainability, which involves meeting present needs without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their own needs. The other options, such as cost reduction, innovation, and profit maximization, may be important, but are not the primary focus in the context of CSR. 4. Which type of cyber attack uses text messages to trick victims into disclosing personal information for financial gain? A. Phishing. B. Smishing. C. Spear phishing. D. Vishing. What do you think is the answer? Correct answer. B. Smishing. Explanation. Smishing involves the use of text messages to deceive individuals into revealing sensitive information, such as personal details or financial information, which can then be exploited. 5. What is an objective of a professional code of ethics in IT? A. Provide benchmarks for self-assessment. B. Ensure job security. C. Establish financial guidelines. D. Maximize productivity. Do you know the answer? Correct answer. A. Provide benchmarks for self-assessment. Explanation. A professional code of ethics helps ET professionals evaluate their behavior and practices by providing benchmarks for self-assessment. It focuses on ethical behavior rather than job security, financial guidelines, or productivity. 6. Which two intellectual property items are protected by a patent? A. Logos and brand names. B. Inventions and tools. C. Software and slogans. D. Artwork and databases. Can you guess the answer? Correct answer. B. Inventions and tools. Explanation. A patent protects inventions and tools by granting exclusive rights to their creators. Other items, such as logos, brand names, artwork, and slogans, are typically covered by trademarks and copyrights. 7. Which aspect of the computer security triad provides guidance when dealing with data accuracy in IT? A. Confidentiality. B. Availability. C. Integrity. D. Access control. What do you think is the answer? Correct answer. C. Integrity. Explanation. Integrity ensures that data remains accurate and unaltered during storage and transmission. Confidentiality, availability, and access control relate to other security concerns, but do not specifically focus on data accuracy. 8. A consulting firm that provides security services is conducting an independent security audit for a company and recommends remediation methods. What ethical issue may arise in this scenario? A. Conflict of interest. B. Intellectual property theft. C. Misrepresentation. D. Fraud. Do you know the answer? Correct answer. A. Conflict of interest. Explanation. A conflict of interest occurs when the consulting firm stands to benefit from recommending additional services, which could compromise the objectivity of the audit. 9. Which major U.S. regulation governs the collection, disclosure, and protection of consumers' personally identifiable information, PII, data, by companies that provide financial products and services? A. Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act, HIPAA. B. Gsam-Leach-Bliley Act, GLBA. C. Fair Credit Reporting Act. D. Children's Online Privacy Protection Act, 𝗂𝗶𝗶𝗀. Can you guess the answer? Correct answer. B. Gsam-Leach-Bliley Act, GLBA. Explanation. The GLBA governs how financial institutions handle consumers' PII, including requirements for privacy and data protection. HIPAA, the Fair Credit Reporting Act, and 𝗂𝗶𝗀 focus on other sectors. 10. An IT professional discovers a security vulnerability in a product close to release. They are encouraged by a colleague to remain silent, but the professional believes they have a duty to report it. Which ethical theory supports their decision? A. Utilitarianism. B. Virtue ethics. C. Deontology. D. Relativism. What do you think is the answer? Correct answer. C. Deontology. Explanation. Deontology emphasizes following one's moral duty regardless of the consequences. In this case, the professional feels obligated to report the vulnerability to uphold ethical standards. 11. Which law was passed in 1998 and aimed at prohibiting the distribution of harmful material to minors via the Internet? A. Communications Decency Act, CDA. B. Children's Internet Protection Act, CIPA. C. Children's Online Privacy Protection Act, COPPA. D. Digital Millennium Copyright Act, DMCA. Do you know the answer? Correct answer. C. Children's Online Privacy Protection Act, COPPA. Explanation. COPPA was enacted to protect children's privacy online and ensure that websites targeting children under 13 follow strict guidelines, including parental consent for data collection. 12. A hospital is implementing an electronic bridge to improve the speed and security of data transfer between facilities. Which solution should they use? A. Electronic medical record, EMR. B. Health Information Exchange, HIE. C. Data warehouse. D. Cloud storage. Can you guess the answer? Correct answer. B. Health Information Exchange, HIE. Explanation. HIE enables the secure and efficient transfer of health-related information across different healthcare facilities, ensuring faster and more accurate communication. 13. What is the goal of a white hat hacker in cyber attacks in IT? A. To steal sensitive data. B. To sabotage systems. C. To identify vulnerabilities. D. To cause financial damage. What do you think is the answer? Correct answer. C. To identify vulnerabilities. Explanation. White hat hackers are ethical hackers whose goal is to identify security vulnerabilities so they can be fixed, preventing malicious attacks. 14. A manager is preparing an employee for a sales trip and instructs them to give expensive gifts to clients to secure business. The employee expresses concern about the ethical implications of bribery. The manager responds by saying bribery is culturally acceptable in some regions. Which ethical theory does this reflect? A. Virtue ethics. B. Utilitarianism. C. Deontology. D. Relativism. Do you know the answer? Correct answer. D. Relativism. Explanation. Relativism suggests that ethical standards vary based on cultural norms. In this case, the manager is using cultural relativism to justify bribery. 15. A company's Bring Your Own Device, BYOD policy allows employees to use personal devices for work, resulting in increased productivity. What other impact might this policy have? A. Decreased employee morale. B. Increased vulnerability to security breaches. C. Reduced IT workload. D. Improved network security. Can you guess the answer? Correct answer. B. Increased vulnerability to security breaches. Explanation. BYOD policies can improve productivity, but they also introduce security risks, as personal devices may not have the same level of protection as company-owned equipment. 16. A software engineer inflates their resume when applying for a new position. Which two ethical challenges might encourage this behavior? A. Lack of technical skills. B. Prioritization of personal loyalty. C. Disregard for the professional code of conduct. D. Desire for higher compensation. What do you think is the answer? Correct answer. B. Prioritization of personal loyalty. C. Disregard for the professional code of conduct. Explanation. Personal loyalty and ignoring professional ethical standards can drive unethical behavior like resume inflation. Compensation may be a factor, but it's not an ethical challenge in this context. 17. What is a primary consequence of allowing unrestricted access to public internet usage in a corporate environment? A. Increased productivity. B. Decreased risk of security breaches. C. Decreased potential for lawsuits. D. Increased potential for inappropriate content access. Do you know the answer? Correct answer. D. Increased potential for inappropriate content access. Explanation. Unrestricted internet access in a corporate environment increases the risk of employees accessing inappropriate or harmful content, which can lead to legal and reputational risks for the company. 18. Which regulation is designed to strengthen data protection for individuals within the European Union? specifically addressing the export of personal data outside the EU? A. 𝗤𝗵𝗋𝗶𝘀𝗋𝗄 Act, GLBA. B. Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act, HIPAA. C. General Data Protection Regulation, GDPR. D. Children's Online Privacy Protection Act, 𝗬𝗵𝗶𝗀𝗶𝘀. Can you guess the answer? Correct answer. C. General Data Protection Regulation, GDPR. Explanation: the GDPR was implemented to ensure strong data protection for individuals within the EU and applies to companies that handle personal data, both inside and outside the EU. The other laws focus on different sectors or regions. 19. Which ethical framework suggests that actions are morally right or wrong based solely on their consequences? A. Deontology. B. Virtue ethics. C. Utilitarianism. D. Relativism. What do you think is the answer? Correct answer. C. Utilitarianism. Explanation: utilitarianism is based on the principle of maximizing positive outcomes for the greatest number of people. Deontology and virtue ethics focus on moral rules and character traits, respectively, while relativism is based on subjective viewpoints. 20. A security company is found to have issued a root cause analysis that misses key details about remediating existing vulnerabilities due to insufficient expertise. What is the potential impact of this behavior? A. Fraud charges. B. Misrepresentation charges. C. Loss of business. D. Intellectual property theft. Do you know the answer? Correct answer. B. Misrepresentation charges. Explanation: failing to provide accurate and complete information about vulnerabilities can result in misrepresentation charges, as the company has not fully disclosed the risks involved in its analysis. 21. A government agency asks a company to develop software with specific criteria. Flaws are discovered during testing, but the company proceeds with implementation as per the contract. What should the company do to avoid a strict liability lawsuit? A. Hire an external auditor. B. Develop software in-house. C. Advise the client of the defects. D. Correct the flaws post-implementation. Can you guess the answer? Correct answer. C. Advise the client of the defects. Explanation: to avoid liability, the company must disclose any defects to the client before proceeding. Continuing without informing the client could lead to a strict liability lawsuit, regardless of fault. 22. What is the primary argument against overly restrictive copyright laws? A. They decrease technological innovation. B. They stifle creativity. C. They benefit large corporations. D. They increase software piracy. Do you know the answer? Correct answer. B. They stifle creativity. Explanation: overly restrictive copyright laws can limit creativity by preventing individuals from building upon existing works. The focus is less on technological innovation or corporate benefits and more on restricting creative freedoms. 23. What does a victim have to prove to win a strict liability case against a software company? A. The software was defective. B. The company was negligent. C. The software was hacked. D. The company violated the contract. Do you know the answer? Correct answer. A. The software was defective. Explanation: in strict liability cases, the plaintiff does not need to prove negligence. Instead, they must demonstrate that the software was defective and that this defect caused harm. 24. Which type of attack is commonly used to obtain personal information about consumers in e-commerce scenarios? A. Phishing. B. denial of service, DOS. C. Salquil injection. D. Man in the middle. Can you guess the answer? Correct answer. A. Phishing. Explanation. Phishing attacks are frequently used to deceive consumers into disclosing personal information in e-commerce environments by pretending to be legitimate entities. 25. What are the consequences of more lenient bring your own device (BYOD) policies for IT? A. Decreased employee satisfaction. B. Increased productivity and vulnerability to breaches. C. Reduced security measures. D. Increased IT workload. What do you think is the answer? Correct answer. B. Increased productivity and vulnerability to breaches. Explanation. BYOD policies can boost productivity as employees use familiar devices, but they also introduce security vulnerabilities, as personal devices may lack the security controls implemented on corporate devices. 26. Which law was passed to protect customers' financial information from unauthorized federal access? A. Right to Financial Privacy Act. B. Fair Credit Reporting Act. C. Freedom of Information Act. D. Foreign Corrupt Practices Act. Do you know the answer? Correct answer. A. Right to Financial Privacy Act. Explanation. The Right to Financial Privacy Act protects customers' records from being accessed by federal agencies without proper authorization, ensuring privacy for personal financial information. 27. What is the goal of implementing CIA security measures at the organizational, network, application, and end-user levels? A. Improve productivity. B. Ensure business continuity. C. Increase profitability. D. Reduce employee turnover. Can you guess the answer? Correct answer. B. Ensure business continuity. Explanation. CIA. Confidentiality, integrity, availability. Measures aim to protect sensitive data, maintain data accuracy, and ensure systems are operational. This supports business continuity by minimizing disruptions. 28. A healthcare company plans to adopt an artificial intelligence (AI) solution to identify which doctors and drugs provide the best value. What should the data scientist provide to ensure the AI makes accurate recommendations? A. Patient demographics. B. Personal health records (PHR). C. Electronic health records (EHR). D. Insurance claims. Do you know the answer? Correct answer. C. Electronic health records (EHR). Explanation. EHRs contain comprehensive patient medical histories, which are essential for making accurate recommendations in healthcare AI systems. PHRs and insurance claims provide less detailed information. 29. A car manufacturer allows customers to disengage the automatic braking system, which could cause accidents. What should the company do to address the ethical issue? A. Include a disclaimer in the owner's manual. B. Conduct a recall. C. Display a warning when the brakes are disengaged. D. Replace the braking system. Do you know the answer? Correct answer. C. Display a warning when the brakes are disengaged. Explanation. To ensure customers are aware of the risks, the manufacturer should display a clear warning when the automatic braking system is disengaged. This transparency helps mitigate liability and ethical concerns. 30. A company's product fails to meet the terms of its warranty, leading to customer dissatisfaction. Which legal issue could this situation lead to? A. Fraud. B. Breach of contract. C. Breach of warranty. D. Misrepresentation. Can you guess the answer? Correct answer. C. Breach of warranty. Explanation. A breach of warranty occurs when a product does not meet the standards outlined in its warranty. Customers may seek remedies or compensation for the failure. Struggling with your WGU exams? We've all been there. Welcome to 𝗬𝗂𝗿𝗄𝗋𝗀𝗀.com, your ultimate resource for WGU success. Find over 15,000 plus questions and answers. Join our thriving community of over 10,000 active WGU students and an impressive 100% success rate with our premium exam support. Visit 𝗬𝗂𝗿𝗄𝗋𝗀𝗀.com today and take the first step toward guaranteed success. 31. A software development company hires a new developer who previously worked for a competitor. What ethical issue should the company be concerned about? A. Misrepresentation. B. Intellectual property theft. C. Conflict of interest. D. Breach of confidentiality. Do you know the answer? Correct answer. D. Breach of confidentiality. Explanation. The new hire may have access to confidential information from their previous employer. The company should ensure no confidential information is disclosed or used unethically. 32. Which technique is commonly used to develop International Organization for Standardization, ISO 9000 to compliant systems? A. Root cause analysis. B. Failure mode and effects analysis, FMEA. C. Reverse engineering. D. Agile development. Do you know the answer? Correct answer. B. Failure mode and effects analysis, FMEA. Explanation. FMEA is a widely used technique for developing ISO 9000 and compliant systems by identifying potential failure modes and their effects to ensure quality and reliability. 33. Which scenario might create a conflict of interest between IT workers and clients? A. IT workers providing security services to clients. B. IT workers using company software for personal projects. C. IT workers auditing their own company's security systems. D. IT workers conducting audits and recommending their own remediation services. Can you guess the answer? Correct answer. D. IT workers conducting audits and recommending their own remediation services. Explanation. A conflict of interest arises when IT workers provide both audit services and recommend solutions, as they could financially benefit from their recommendations. 34. What is the primary threat associated with doxing? A. Unauthorized disclosure of personally identifiable information, PII. B. Loss of intellectual property. C. System vulnerabilities. D. Identity theft. What do you think is the answer? Correct answer. A. Unauthorized disclosure of personally identifiable information, PII. Explanation. Doxing involves gathering and disclosing personal information without consent, which can lead to harassment, privacy invasion, and other risks. 35. A manager directs an employee to use their company card to buy gifts for potential clients. The employee is concerned about the ethical implications of bribery. What ethical theory supports the employee's concern? A. Utilitarianism. B. Deontology. C. Relativism. D. Virtue ethics. Do you know the answer? Correct answer. B. Deontology. Explanation. Deontology emphasizes following moral duties and rules. The employee's concern about bribery reflects a belief in adhering to ethical guidelines, regardless of cultural norms. 36. Which two certifications should an IT professional obtain to ensure proper handling of cyber attack evidence for court admissibility? A. Certified Computer Examiner, 𝗏𝗏𝗃certified B. Certified Ethical Hacker, CISSP. C. 𝗓𝗏𝗃𝗀𝗃+ Network Plus. D. Certified Information Security Manager, Certified Data Privacy Solutions. Engineer. Can you guess the answer? Correct answer. A. Certified Computer Examiner, 𝗏𝗏𝗃certified examiner. Explanation. These certifications are recognized for ensuring the proper collection and handling of digital evidence, making it admissible in court. 37. Which factor does deontology use to evaluate the morality of human actions? A. Duty. B. Outcome. C. Intent. D. Impact. Do you know the answer? Correct answer. A. Duty. Explanation. Deontology is based on the principle of duty, meaning actions are judged morally right or wrong, based on whether they adhere to ethical rules or obligations, not on their outcomes. 38. A developer creates video games depicting real war scenarios that involve excessive violence. The developer is concerned about the impact on players' moral character. Which ethical theory does this situation represent? A. Virtue ethics. B. Utilitarianism. C. Deontology. D. Relativism. Do you know the answer? Correct answer. A. Virtue ethics. Explanation. Virtue ethics focuses on moral character and the development of virtuous habits. The developer's concern reflects an ethical perspective focused on the potential impact on players' character. 39. Which of the following are components of information privacy? Select all that apply. A. Communication privacy. B. Data privacy. C. System privacy. D. Hardware privacy. Can you guess the answer? Correct answer. A. Communication privacy. B. Data privacy. Explanation. Information privacy is concerned with protecting both communication privacy, the confidentiality of personal interactions, and data privacy, the protection of personal data from unauthorized access. 40. What is the primary threat associated with the use of stalking apps? A. Decreased bandwidth usage. B. Increased data accuracy. C. Invasion of privacy. D. Improved system efficiency. What do you think is the answer? Correct answer. C. Invasion of privacy. Explanation. Stalking apps are a severe privacy concern as they allow unauthorized access to an individual's private information, often without their knowledge or consent. 41. What is the key challenge associated with using skewed training data in artificial intelligence, AI development? A. Increased processing time. B. Reduced system efficiency. C. Bias in the AI's decision-making. D. Enhanced accuracy. Do you know the answer? Correct answer. C. Bias in the AI's decision-making. Explanation. Skewed or biased training data can lead to inaccurate and biased decisions made by AI systems, potentially impacting fairness and ethics in AI applications. 42. Which ethical framework argues that moral actions are based on individual duty and adherence to rules? A. Utilitarianism. B. Virtue ethics. C. Deontology. D. Relativism. Can you guess the answer? Correct answer. C. Deontology. Explanation. Deontology is centered on the idea that ethical behavior is determined by adhering to rules and fulfilling one's moral duties, regardless of the consequences. 43. What are two challenges of using stalking apps from a technical, legal, and ethical standpoint? A. Remote activation of built-in microphones. Selling and buying stalking apps is legal. B. Enhanced privacy protection. Increased internet usage. C. Reduced legal liabilities. Increased productivity. D. Higher system efficiency. Improved user experience. What do you think is the answer? Correct answer. A. Remote activation of built-in microphones. Selling and buying stalking apps is legal. Explanation. Stalking apps present significant privacy and legal challenges. They allow remote access to personal data, and in many cases, their sale or use is not explicitly prohibited by law. 44. What is the most significant threat to data accuracy attributed to fake news releases? A. Publishing speed. B. Sensationalism. C. Data redundancy. D. System overload. Do you know the answer? Correct answer. B. Sensationalism. Explanation. Sensationalism in fake news often leads to exaggerated or false information being reported, which directly impacts the accuracy and credibility of the data being disseminated. 45. Which philosophical theory focuses on the greatest good for the greatest number of people? A. Relativism. B. Utilitarianism. C. Virtue ethics. D. Deontology. Can you guess the answer? Correct answer. B. Utilitarianism. Explanation. Utilitarianism is the ethical theory that evaluates actions based on their outcomes, aiming to maximize the overall good for the greatest number of people. 46. A company creates a system that allows doctors to input data and receive treatment recommendations for patients. Which global-level threat might this system face? A. Unethical patient profiling. B. Incorrect treatment recommendations. C. Unauthorized data access. D. Increased healthcare costs. Can you guess the answer? Correct answer. B. Incorrect treatment recommendations. Explanation. A clinical decision support tool could present a risk if it makes inaccurate treatment recommendations, which could negatively impact patient care. 47. A company that offers financial services implements a software solution to identify patterns in client behavior. Which U.S. law governs how the company must handle personally identifiable information, PII? A. Gsbrmlj Act, GLBA. B. Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act, HIPAA. C. Fair Credit Reporting Act. D. Children's Online Privacy Protection Act, 𝗂𝗵𝗶𝗀. Do you know the answer? Correct answer. A. Gsbrmlj Act, GLBA. Explanation. The GLBA governs how financial institutions must collect, disclose, and protect customers' personally identifiable information, ensuring data privacy in the financial sector. 48. A healthcare provider is concerned about the accuracy and speed of prescription transfers. Which technology solution can mitigate these threats? A. Clinical Decision Support Tool. B. Electronic Health Record, EHR. C. Health Information Exchange, HIE. D. Cloud storage. Can you guess the answer? Correct answer. C. Health Information Exchange, HIE. Explanation. HIE facilitates the secure and efficient transfer of patient information, including prescriptions, between healthcare providers, thereby reducing errors and improving speed. 49. A software company uses data aggregation techniques to compile personal information from various sources to create profiles for marketing. What ethical issue might arise from this practice? A. Identity theft. B. Privacy violation. C. Intellectual property theft. D. Fraud. What do you think is the answer? Correct answer. B. Privacy violation. Explanation. Aggregating personal data without consent can lead to privacy violations, as individuals may not be aware that their information is being used for marketing purposes. 50. A government contractor learns of unethical practices within the company and wants to file a lawsuit on behalf of the government. Which law protects the employee in this scenario? A. False Claims Act. B. Foreign Corrupt Practices Act. C. Whistleblower Protection Act. D. 𝗤𝗵𝗶𝗀𝗍𝗄 Act. Do you know the answer? Correct answer. A. False Claims Act. Explanation. The False Claims Act allows employees to report fraudulent practices involving government contracts and provides protection to whistleblowers who expose illegal actions. You've reached the end of our first question set. For the complete exam preparation experience, visit us at 𝗬𝗂𝗿𝒠ams.com, where you'll find thousands more practice questions and comprehensive study guides. Thanks for studying with us today. See you in the next video.